Hey everyone, it's December 19th, Thursday, and market just closed. So today was relatively bloody for crypto in general. Bitcoin, this was the um, this was the flush. We had the head and shoulders on the hourly chart, which we talked about a couple days ago. We broke that, and I had projected that target to be about 98,000 today. Well, overnight, it tried to make a recovery, hit the 200 period on the hourly chart, and just sold off from there. And we hit that target today. Tried to get a bullish candle, but market didn't give it much thought. Sold off, and now we're down at around. I think we got to a low around 95,900. So swift move down for Bitcoin. I will say so. This pattern was a perfect, honestly, a perfect head and shoulders on the hourly. Got the target hit, and that's resolved in my opinion. Now what I'm looking at is this point of control on the 4-hour chart. We just pretty much touched it at 95, around 96,000 here, and it has acted as a pretty big level in the past, okay, on the 4-hour chart. So um, overnight, this could try to make a comeback just from this support. There is heavy volume that's traded in this area in general. Zooming out to the daily, you see on the volume profile, it's a pretty heavily traded range here. But if this cannot hold support, it's pretty thinly traded, all the way down to around 70,000, I'd say. Okay, so this is sort of the line in the sand. The market bulls need to kind of protect this. We got the 50-day SMA below, which I imagine will act as at least the local support if it gets there. So Bitcoin currently bearish, but we did hit that point of control on the 4-hour. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Looking at the SPX, pretty bearish day in my opinion. I mean, ultimately the day ended at almost 0%, but the price action was it tried to make a recovery in the morning, got up to 59.36, which coincides with the daily SMA, 50-day SMA, 95.20s essentially, and just sold off and couldn't make a recovery. After a day like this, where you ended the day on the low, bulls, if you're a bull and you're long this market, you would want to see some type of attempt at a hammer candle or something that looks like this. Okay. This is not a great way to close the day. Okay. At the very lows, essentially at yesterday's low. So if I were a bull, I'd be sweating right now. But a lot of people have longs in this market. So the way I'm kind of seeing it, I guess, like just psychologically, the market has already it's up about 20 to 25% on the year. Okay, so that's a knockout year for S&P, and we're coming into the almost 11 to 12 days before the end of the year. It's almost holiday season, and a lot of the catalysts that have pushed this market as high as it has have kind of come into fruition. We've learned sort of what they were going to be. So Trump got elected as president. We know he's going to be inaugurated. We had the 25 basis point cut, and going forward, the market is moving. It is a forward-looking market, right? So going forward, the question is always, what's next? What is it we're looking forward to? And we know Jerome Powell yesterday didn't have very bullish words for us. If anything, it was lowering the amount of rate cuts we're going to get next year, and inflation is going to be, it hasn't been defeated. It's still hot. So that's going to be something they have to battle. So, you know, if I were just holding long, I would be looking to secure profits and not like worry about this market, right? I think a lot of people are kind of looking at this and saying, hey, we made money this year. Great. let's just call it, come back in the new year and run it back turbo. But going into the end of the year, it's going to become thin volume. People go on vacation, they just kind of sign off. So I'm ultimately short-term bearish for the next week or two after what has kind of played out in the price action. There's this big gap here that I'm kind of looking at, and I did take a short position in SPX. In anticipation of this filling in the next week or two. So let's take a look at the positions today. Today was a day where I was also trading sort of remotely. I wasn't really able to pay attention to the market, so wasn't a super active day in terms of profit taking or anything. Looking at the current positions, actually, let's look at the closed positions. So I just closed 4 positions today. Zena had a pretty good run actually, and I sold some around $8 and some around $7.67. But obviously, right after I sold, this happened. So I sold here at $8, came back down, sold some more down here, and the next hour it rallies to $12 and it halts. After it halts, it just tanks back down, which happens a lot with these after they halt. And so I didn't take any profits up here. I wish I did, but I wasn't watching at the time, so and I had no idea it was going to actually do that type of move and hit the prior high. While I would like to say this could keep going, there's clearly like a lot of baggage up here. Every time it reaches this, it just gets sold. So, we could just come back to chop, especially if this market continues bearish. But we'll see. This is a stock that seems to be very uncorrelated to the overall market. So, I still hold 1,000 shares in the main portfolio. Got in at 590. It's currently 7 something, and in my Robinhood, I do hold some as well. I bought some at 684, but didn't sell any. Really should have sold some. This portfolio was up today, actually around 4,400, and I thought about just market selling everything on this right around here, but I ended up not doing it. So, yeah, hopefully it can get back up there. But I am glad I took some profits, about 4K off the position. Oklo, this was a short covered call that I just closed because Oklo was actually pretty bullish today. Those are $23 calls, so it would have been right here. And I didn't really want to limit the shares to 23, so I just kind of closed them at around break even. ASTS, these are the short puts I had. I actually still have half a position. All I did was close some out. Yeah, I had 20 contracts in ASTS, but I closed out half of that, so 10 of them. Why? Because 20 equates to about 2,000 shares, and I think it was more exposure than I wanted. So if I think this is going to get assigned, which I do this week, I only want to hold 1,000 shares. So that's the reason I closed half of it at a small loss. ARM, yeah, this is just a bad trade altogether. I mean, I think when I do my trading review towards the end of the year, I'm going to really look at this. I like to look at my worst trades and kind of assess what happened and learn from it. This was just ultimately not a good execution in general. So I'll talk about it in a future video, but I just took the loss here. They were call options. I sold around 133, I want to say, and it kept drifting down. I'm content with being out. It was about a 50% loss on this. Okay, so those are the closed positions. These are the open positions for today. Oklo was the standout. Zeno was a standout. Still got some shares open for all of them, both of them. And you'll notice the next gainers in this are all puts, long puts. So I bought MSTR put, SPX put, CleanSpark, and Coin and SMCI. SMCI was yesterday. So I got short Bitcoin stocks, Coinbase, CleanSpark, MSTR, because of this pattern, right? That I've been talking about. I've been watching this. And I didn't actually want to short Bitcoin itself or IBIT. I wanted to short more of the mining stocks, the MSTR, which I think is just has not had uh, a great run recently, especially in the press. I think shareholders are getting kind of fed up with how Saylor was essentially trading against them and killing every rally they had. So, um, yeah, I posted the fills in the Discord, but you'll notice that on my short positions, they're all like not super large, and it this is something I do intentionally because I'm much more wary going short. I think shorting a market is always much more difficult than going long, because the moves happen really quick and they can be very swift. You could be in profit and then out of profit really quickly, because the market takes the stairs down, but then it could just V-shape recover. And so, because of the high volatility of shorting, I tend to use smaller positions. So it's very, very rare. I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but it's going to be very rare for you to see me kind of go like a huge position, kind of like 40,000, 50, into a short position. So unless it's a day trade, I might do a day trade with that because I know I'm going to close it out within a very small amount of time. But sleeping is with large short positions for me is hard. So I like doing the sleep test. Can you sleep well, knowing what your positions are? If yes, then you're doing it right, and that's what I try to do. I'm not going to go into individually each of these because essentially I'm just shorting Bitcoin with these. Okay, I think CleanSpark is probably the weakest of these mining stocks. It just hasn't even performed with Bitcoin, so I expect it to continue underperforming. So if Bitcoin drops, I think this will drop faster. Coin, daily squeeze, I think it might fire short, kind of with Bitcoin, which I think potentially could be firing short on the daily. Okay, now I know we're catching a bid here because of this point of control, but larger time frame, on the daily, I am looking at this kind of bearish. RSI also has divergence. The previous highs, you can see the higher high in price did not coincide with a higher high in the RSI, and then higher high here, lower RSI, higher high here, RSI just never could come back up and make a new high. So this divergence is bearish to me as well. I'm just like looking like that while the highs were looking like that, right? Okay, MACD is also pretty, looks like it's rolling over as well. So I think momentum is building to the downside for Bitcoin, and I do think this 107K level is going to be we're going to look back and say this is a pretty good local top. TSLL, I have a short put, 20 contracts, which is going to be 2,000 shares. I'm still holding this because I'm okay getting assigned on this. 32.70. It's currently trading around 33. So I think I might get assigned on Tesla. And so I did close out my Tesla shares, which doesn't show here actually, interestingly enough. Yeah, I just took a look and no idea why my TSL shares aren't showing in my closed positions, but you'll just have to trust me. I did close them out. It might have something to do with the fact that I received some partial shares, I think, as a dividend yesterday night. So I have like a little residual quantity, which I think will just get sold after by tomorrow's open. But yeah, we'll see. I'll show that on tomorrow or something. In any case, I don't have TSL shares anymore. I just have the short puts. I'd be assigned 2,000 shares this Friday if we expire under. ASTS, again, I talked about that. Qubit and QMCO. So I am very glad that we took profits yesterday on QMCO. Hoo-wee. So I sold my last tranche at 52. Yeah, $52 or something. Today it tanked a good 40%. And I rebought some at 39.14 on the one, just 1,000 shares here. It's a decent amount actually. And then I'm kind of just holding those. Qubit also did the same thing. I was not in shares, thankfully, and this is why I don't like to buy them. I when a parabolic move happens like this, I like to short puts instead. So I did short the $14, $15 puts, and those are actually taking heat. They're in the money already. Now, this was a kind of another mistake of mine. And you're watching this stuff live. Okay, this is real trading for you. Mistakes happen. I bought 2,000 shares when I only intended to buy 1,000. Because I knew I had 2,500 shares. I'm short 25 puts on the 15 strike, right? So I didn't really want more than like 2,500 or 3,000 shares or so. So, you know, this is stuff that happens. It wouldn't be the first time I made a mistake like this, but it's not the end of the world. I probably, if I had a day trading account, I probably would have just closed out that last 1,000 share purchase I did right at the money or at market after I found out. But I don't want to incur another day trade on this account. I think I had like one already or two the last few days, so I want those to kind of recycle out of the period where you can't have more than three. But ultimately, I'm still bullish on quantum stocks. I think they took a dip because of the market conditions. Maybe they are overheated, and maybe we do close this gap, and it's we're gonna take heat for a little bit. But these are shares. I'm okay with it for now. And considering I do have short positions, I'm more comfortable with that. Now, the question is, will I keep the short puts or just hold the shares? I'm inclined tomorrow to close out 1,000 shares and just have 1,000 shares, and then the $15 puts. Even though we're in the money right now, I don't. Yeah, after we're in the money after market, but I can see this bouncing and not closing below 15 by the end of the week. Pretty like I feel like there's a good chance of it. So I do still want to have shares open. So I'm not going to close out the entire share position, and I'll kind of monitor this to see if I want to close it out. If we get into profit on this, like under 90 cents on a short rally or something, I might close these out at a profit and just hold like the 1,000 shares. Because between these, I have pretty big exposure in quantum now, right? Ironically, QSI actually held pretty well today, the one that I am not holding anymore. Yeah, it's still not something I'm gonna get back into. Okay, next I have the NVIDIA put. Oh yes, I also have the NVIDIA put from yesterday, and NVIDIA, tried to make a run today. This was yesterday. I got in around that last 5-minute rally, and it kind of tried to make a run today, but couldn't hold much and sold off into the close. So I'm comfortable with this still. I do still see this head and shoulders potentially playing out. We are now right around the neckline, and again, the target going from distance of the head to the neckline, and then projecting it from the neckline down. I'm looking at 110, but there's a 200 SMA here on the daily, so I probably will close it out somewhere above that or right at it if we actually get down there. Okay, so those are the open positions that I have now. Compared to my exposure before, they're overall it's much less exposure. I have a lot more cash. I raised a lot more cash, and I'm more comfortable being in cash. And especially going into the end of the year, I, as much as I would like to trade heavily and get some great trades on the short side, slamming this these short trades, I also do want to take a break. I'm going on a trip after Christmas, and I don't want to be managing too many positions. So you'll just kind of see me slowly unwinding and flattening out my exposure. And then, yeah, we'll run it back in the new year and hit the ground running. The 4K positions, I got the qubit on this as well at 1770. Now we're taking heat. Xena, I sold nothing. I could have sold a decent profit, but didn't. And now we're just holding. It's only long exposure in this 4K portfolio right now. So it's possible I use this cash to hedge myself a little, depending on what the market gives us. So that's all I had for today. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.